Hello chess lovers, Soren here, and in this video I would like to share with you a fantastic game from 2010 Top Chess Engine Championship. Schroeder 12 is playing with white pieces and Naum 4.2 is on the black side. Schroeder was developed by German programmer Stefan Meyer-Kohlen and Naum was developed by Serbian programmer Alexander Naumov. Now let's go for our game and see what happened on the board. Schroeder opened up with knight f3 and Naum responded with d5, b3, c5, e3, knight f6, and bishop b5 check. Yes, white wants to exchange the light squared bishops. We have queen e2, e6, bishop b2. White is fianchettoing his dark squared bishop, which will start putting useful pressure on black's king side. Bishop e7, and finally we have it. Bishop takes d7 check, queen takes d7, knight d5. White is centralizing his knight with a tempo, and after queen c7 we have castling by both sides. And there it goes, f4 is on the board. With the transposition of moves, we reached well-known position of bird opening. Here we have knight d7, an interesting decision by Naum. Instead of going for this natural-looking knight c6 or knight bd7, we have knight fd7. Naum is moving back his developed knight, and I guess that one of the reasons is to free this f6 square. Later, if needed, black can play bishop f6, which can be a nice counterbalance to this active bishop on b2. And there it goes, rook f3. Yes, Schroeder is bringing his rook on the king's side in order to launch an attack. This is of course a standard rook maneuver in bird opening. g6, knight g4. Already there's a mating threat. That's why black played h5, freed the h7 square for the king, but this is somewhat weakening black's king side, and this time we have knight e5. Yes, as white managed to weaken black's king side, the knight returns back on the central e5 square. Knight c6, finally black is developing his last piece, and we have knight takes d7, queen takes d7, rook g3. White is pinning the pawn on g6, and the threat is queen takes h5. That's why black played h4 and a very aggressive move, queen h5. Yes, the rook is untouchable because of this queen h8 checkmate, and actually with this queen h5 move, white goes for severe complications. In here, now played d4, blocked the dark squared bishop's diagonal, and already the threat is h takes g3. But in here, Schroeder's answer was spectacular. Believe it or not, but this time this monster played f5. Yes, Schroeder is insisting on sacrificing his rook, and there it goes. Finally, we have it. H takes g3, f takes g6, and king g7. Of course, recapturing with the f-pawn would allow white to force a draw by a perpetual check. That's why after f takes g6 we have king g7, queen h7 check, king f6. But yes, this gives birth to more complications. Look at this black king on f6, and black has to be careful because the black king can become an easy target for aggressive white pieces. g7 and g takes h2 check, which allows white to gain a slight advantage. Instead of g takes h2 check, it was better to play bishop d6. By the way, saving the rook is not a good idea because in this case white can win the game by playing queen h6 check. Here king e5 can be met with queen f4 check, and then black king is getting checkmated, and after queen h6 check, if king f5, then in this case knight a3 can be very unpleasant, and black won't be able to save this position. That's why after g7 black should play bishop d6, and in this case actually white can force a draw by first promoting his pawn to a queen and then giving a perpetual check, or can even choose a very sharp line by going for knight c3. But in this case, in the end of the day, with a very accurate defense, black is gaining a slight advantage. Yes, black has a slight advantage and a very solid position. But in our game after g7, we have g takes h2 check, king h1. Finally, we have bishop d6 and e takes d4, which leads to an equal game. Instead of e takes d4, it was better to play knight c3. Now if d takes c3, then rook f1 check is coming, and if king e7, then g8 queen. Of course, now black can't win this queen because of this rook takes f7 check, and white is winning. That's why after g8 queen, black should play king e8, and after bishop a3, c takes d2, queen g7, rook d8, white has a slight advantage, but the position is highly complex. By the way, would like to tell you the idea of bishop a3. For example, after king e8, if you play bishop takes c3, then in this case black can simply win the queen, and if queen takes g8, then bishop f8. And now already the bishop is on c3, you can't capture on c5 and create problems for black. That's why after king e8, it's important to play bishop a3, preventing any possible rook takes g8 moves. Let's go back. In our game, after bishop d6, we have e takes d4 and c takes d4. Yes, although this black king is on f6 square, but there are no dangerous threats. Here we have knight c3, the rook on f8 is hanging, but no one is paying attention. White is sacrificing his knight in order to bring into the game the rook. d takes c3 was played with rook f1 check. What are you doing, Shredder? King e7, and finally we have a pawn promotion, g8 queen. White is not even touching this rook, but is going for a queen promotion using the fact that the queen is untouchable. The rook should guard the f7 square. White has now too much pressure on f7, but we have c takes b2. The pawn suddenly reached on b2 square. We can say that the pawn fianchettoed right, and we have rook takes f7 check, which is losing. Yes, all this looks very scary, but it turns out that in here white's position is lost. Instead of rook takes f7, the best continuation was queen takes f7. Let's take a quick look at this forced line. In here, although white is managing to win black queen, but this b pawn is being promoted to a queen. Yes, the new queen is being born, and actually there are no mating threats. All white can do is to win the rook on a8, after which black is announcing a perpetual check, and this is going to end up in a draw. But after c takes b2, white played rook takes f7, and after king e8, white's position is lost. Of course, not rook takes f7 because of this queen takes f7 checkmate. Let's see how the game is going to end up. We have rook takes f8, bishop takes f8, queen g6 check, king e7, queen f7 check. White has two queens, but white's position is lost. Meanwhile, the bishop on f8 also drops. We have king c7 and queen f1. Yes, white queen can't win the rook because should guard the first rank. The pawn on b2 is simply a monster. That fianchettoed pawn. Rook f8. Black wants to lure away white queen and promote to a queen, but we have queen g3 check, e5 and queen e1. This cheeking queen is escaping, and this time we have queen f5 with queen f1 threat. Queen f3 was played. We have queen takes c2. Yes, black wants to go for that pawn promotion. Queen d1, and this time it's white who is defending. Both queens are coming to cover the first rank. What a turnaround. We have the exchange of queens on d1 and rook f2. The rook is coming to support his friend. Queen e1, and simply rook takes d2. Black rook is munching the pawn on d2, using the fact that the queen can't leave the first rank. King takes h2 was played. We have already forgot that black also had another monster on the second rank, and we have rook c2. The threat is rook c1 and then b1 queen. That's why we have queen b1, and now comes knight d4. King g3, king d6. Now black queen is coming near. It's not quite clear why Shredder gave away the pawn on g2. King h5, we have rook c2, king g5, and there it goes, e4. King f4, king d5, queen h1, rook f2 check, king g3, rook f3 check, king g4, and after e3, Shredder resigned. Yes, Shredder got shredded, guys. Now if queen h5 check, then rook f5, black can successfully cover his king, and then king c5, and then e2 is coming. Yes, black is winning. That's why after this deadly e3 move, where is that e3? e3 was played on move 47. Yes, that's why after e3 we have a resignation. This was simply a fantastic game, guys. Yes, maybe fantastic is an overused word, but I'm sure that you will agree with me that this game was a fantastic one. First it was white who was attacking, sacrificed his rook, and then the knight, I've already forgot how many sacrifices we saw in our game, managed to promote his pawn to a queen, but white's attack boomeranged back. Naum's defense was impenetrable, and finally, with the help of this powerful monster on b2, Naum managed to win the game. In the end, as usual, would like to ask you to solve a chess puzzle. After so many emotions, I'm sure that you will be able to solve this puzzle in a blink of a second. It's black to move and mate in 3. I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Thanks for watching. If you liked this game, give the thumbs up and share it with your friends. For more games, consider subscribing to my channel. Also, press the bell button to get notified about new uploads. I will see you in my next video. Take care.